half in the bag.
Hello, and welcome to a very special episode of Half in the Bag.
You know it's special because we're in the Black Void.
Right.
We're not beyond the Black Void, we're just in it.
Right. Beyond the Black Void is a different program, as we discussed off camera.
We all got together on this exact same Black Void to discuss Ghostbusters Afterlife, and now here we are again, 2 years later? 3 years later?
Something.
They did another one.
That was a COVID movie. And how long ago was COVID now?
Well, that
was 4 years?
Yeah, that's the weird thing is that the Ghostbusters Afterlife was shot pre-COVID, and then it kept getting delayed. It came out like 3 years after they made it. So that little Phoebe girl, by the time it came out in theaters, she was like 15, 16, and now they finally did the sequel, and now she's like 29 years old.
She's playing a 15-year-old.
She's playing
How
a
old is
15.
the
I
actress
think she's
for
like 17 or 18 in real life, so
not
not too much.
too much of a
But when
switch
you watch Afterlife and then go to this, there's a huge there's like a 5-year age
you know,
gap.
they had to go to New York and set up shop and all that kind of
They've
stuff.
been in New York a while. We
That's-
don't
you
know
know
how
what?
long they've been in New York.
That's all completely fine. It doesn't really matter. All that matters is that she has a very touching lesbian romance with a ghost.
I've been waiting 40 years for this.
They called themselves Ghostbusters. According to these hacks, they saved the world. No eyewitnesses. No eyewitnesses. No eyewitnesses. No eyewitnesses.
So we're back. We're talking about Ghostbusters Afterlife. They made Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. They made another one.
Frozen? Was it?
Frozen Empire.
Was that what it's called?
Yeah, because that's one of the 15 subplots in the film, so they had to call it something.
Okay, let's talk about this film. I was shocked I didn't hate it. It wasn't that bad.
I'm surprised by the reviews, yeah.
Yeah, the reviews were the surprising part because the first one, I think it was like 65%. It still had a tomato that was not splattered.
I think that's about accurate.
And then this one was down to like a 45, 46%, and everyone was like, nostalgia, terrible. And I was like, oh God. And then this one was better. It felt more like a ghost. The first one was so disjointed, and
the first one didn't. When you say first one, you mean Afterlife.
Afterlife.
That one didn't even feel like a movie. That felt like a manipulative product.
Franchise rights alone will make us rich beyond our wildest dreams.
The first, I think we said the first half felt like a little like indie movie about a family living on a farm, and then it turned into like a nightmare of Paul Rudd going to Walmart and
product
placements,
placements
and then Egon's ghost, and it was just so schmaltzy and over the top and annoying, and the whole farm field of ghost traps. It was just like, it was over the top and ridiculous and stupid. And this one feels a little better written. There's little things paid off better.
This feels, story-wise, this feels like a big budget adaptation of an episode of the real
show.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying.
I was gonna say it feels like they had an idea for a season, a Ghostbusters TV show season, and they had all these storylines, and they said, "Oh no, you're making a movie." So then they just went boop, because there's way too many characters.
Yeah.
There's way too many subplots. The actual storyline, it feels like a plot from the cartoon, which I liked.
There's a gimmick ghost of the week.
Gimmick Ghost of the Week. You get your exposition, your whole lore and backstory to the ghosts.
Like every episode of the real Ghostbusters.
Yeah. This felt like an actual sequel as opposed to a manipulative attempt to market towards everybody.
Yeah.
This is the characters from the original movie, they're back, they do a couple things, but it's not like, look everybody, they're back in the third act and they're doing all the same shtick they've done before.
Are you a god?
Ray? Oh, come on, Ray.
Lesbian ghost romance aside, it feels like this movie's missing a human element. It's very much, here's the ghost plot, and here's the ghost lore on this ghost.
I mean, is there much
And
of
how
a
do we
human
beat
element
this
to the
ghost?
original movie, though? The original is like a
No,
cynical
but
comedy.
the original movie does have comic actors just delivering some fucking amazing comedic lines.
That's true, and this doesn't.
We're not going to talk about the original movie.
Yeah.
At all, because it's a beating a dead horse and it's pointless. The original movie is a dry comedy about guys starting a business. That's it. It's done. It's no longer existent or relevant.
Yeah.
This is a new thing that's a Sony Pictures wet fart that we have to endure.
It's a dry fart.
It's a dry fart. The first one was a wet fart. This one's a dry fart. It wasn't like it was very producty. It wasn't horrible. Sort of okayly put together. Things paid off, but yes.
I knew what they were doing in the third act, and that helps.
Yes.
As opposed to the last
It
movie.
wasn't the third act wasn't a mess. Things were set up and paid off appropriately. The ghost girl with the match, the Kumail Nanjiani. I think he was the star of the movie. He was the standout.
He's the only one that felt like he wasn't kind of sleepwalking through it. Everybody else felt like they were kind of bored.
Oh yeah.
He looked like he was having some fun.
But he's legitimately funny in a Bill Murray-esque way, to where he should have been a Ghostbuster in a movie with 2 or 3 other Ghostbusters.
I was thinking of that.
Called Ghostbusters.
I was thinking
And
about
no kids. Everyone hates the genius kid that can do anything. No one likes that.
They tried to give her a teen angst subplot in this to make up for the fact that, yeah, she can do anything. So like,
they had nothing to do
You're
with-
not allowed to do anything
Finn
this
Wolfhard
time.
had nothing to do.
Finn Wolfhard, that's the thing I was
Other than
thinking.
his plot arc was he could drive the car now.
No, but yeah, speaking of Kumail Nanjiani,
Yeah.
how he should have played one of the Ghostbusters. I was thinking about that. You have all these characters. They set him up in the last movie, so we got to bring him back.
Why?
Finn Wolfhard has nothing to do. His love interest from the last movie, nothing to do. Podcasts. He showed up in the third act. He's like pops out of the car. It's like, oh right, he's here too. And I was thinking, like, in the same movie, you have Kumail Nanjiani, you have Patton Oswalt, Paul Rudd. Everybody likes Paul Rudd. Like, there's your team. Like, why do we got to deal with all these kids and like family stuff that doesn't matter?
It's the algorithm, Jay.
Yeah.
You gotta appeal to the kid.
At the end, when they're all like shooting their lightsabers and there's like 27 Ghostbusters, I was like, get some of these people out of there.
Yeah.
You know what was the most like eye-opening moment in the whole movie for me? I've been seeing news stories pop up here and there, both in print media and on television, saying that the younger generation, 25 and under, is shifting away from movies
Yeah.
and even TV.
Yeah.
Like 80% of people under 20 prefer to watch short-form videos on their phone, like TikTok, barely watch shows, and even fewer take the time to watch a movie.
Yeah.
And when Ray Stantz and Podcast were making their YouTube video, I was like, I had this like moment of like, this is all gonna end soon, isn't it? Like movies. Because the theater's empty on opening day.
Oh yeah, here's the view of our theater when we got our tickets.
And so my brain was like, celebrities, it's gonna start like, they're gonna start coming over. Movies are gonna go away. And celebrities are gonna start invading like TikTok and 5-second videos. Quibi was well ahead of its time. It was too far ahead of its time, Jay.
Yeah, they were
Quibi
too far ahead.
Quibi will rise from the grave like a George Romero zombie and come back to life. And everyone will go to Quibi.
Are we going to get a nostalgic revival of Quibi? Remember Quibi? And it'll be back.
I'm gonna buy stock in Quibi if it's still like, you know, on life support somewhere.
Okay.
Because I think this is gonna be the trend. But I just thought that was funny because shifting back to my comments about the algorithm, that's why Podcast and the girl, I don't know.
She had some dialogue that felt very like older person trying to write teen
Yeah,
dialogue.
she's like, this is fresh. This is tight.
Speaking of older person trying to write young dialogue.
Well, see, they come in the brass circular room that housed all the artifacts, and
She's like, sex dungeon, meow.
yeah, meow, and she's
What?
like, this is off the chain, off the hook. And she said, what on fleek?
I mean, that could explain why the movie is so overstuffed with characters and subplots, is because they think you have to, because it moves really fast too. So they could be thinking of that, like, we got to keep them engaged, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
The last movie was so slowly paced, and not in a bad way, but like all them like going out to the farm,
Yeah.
setting up life
it
there,
was slowly paced until
until the Walmart
it
scene.
did a huge line of cocaine.
Yeah,
And then it went off the rails. Literally. You get it? Off the rails?
Cocaine rails. I
Do you know
understand.
what that term means?
Yes, I know what that term means. I grew up in the 80s.
Anyways, so continue. Whatever
well,
you're
yeah,
saying.
so that's what I'm saying. Like that movie, and so with this one, they're like, well, we got to keep them engaged, but we got to get the older crowd in there, so we have to have Bill Murray show up approximately 2.5 times. I was surprised how much Dan Aykroyd was in the movie. I'm sure he was happy to be on set that much. He doesn't do much these days.
And Ernie Hudson, they're both. They got that thirst. They're thirsty Ghostbusters.
They're both invested. Dan
Yeah.
Aykroyd because he loves just the subject matter, and
Yeah.
probably Ernie Hudson because
If there's a steady paycheck in it, I'll believe anything you say.
it's genuinely entertaining how much Bill Murray does not give a shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like,
well,
he's
that's
just-
always. I mean, that's part of the charm of the original.
He just
movie.
works. He's breaks the fourth wall essentially as himself.
I laughed like 3 times in this, and 2 of them were Bill Murray just not giving a shit. I don't remember what the third is, so that tells you something.
Right. Bill Murray when he finds his hidden bottle of booze.
Yeah.
And then they just cut to him and he has sunglasses on for no reason. I guess so he could take them off, but he just cut.
No, he just.
All
this is
I
like-
picture is him going, "I'm gonna wear sunglasses. I'm gonna wear sunglasses. Wait, I'm wearing the sunglasses," and that's it.
I think the director of the Poltergeist remake is going to say no to Bill Murray.
Exactly.
I was thinking at the end there, they all come out of the firehouse and there's all the like crowds of people around them. Ghostbusters, yay! I was thinking because there's so many little like nostalgia like callbacks. I was waiting for there to be a cameo by. Are you even aware that Ron Jeremy is in the first movie?
Well, they'd have to have that cameo from jail.
They'd have
right?
to. Yeah, I was thinking they filmed in the green screen in a cell.
That whole.
I think it's interesting how fewer people they had. Like, do you remember how the insane crowd they had in the original Ghostbusters? This it's like what, 30 people?
Well, that's 'cause they filmed it in a
filming it
soundstage in
very
London.
carefully.
Yeah, they had to film it on a soundstage.
Yeah.
And also, it kind of felt like those are people that like won a contest. You know what I mean? Like,
There's a lot of Ghostbusters fans that
Yeah,
wear
you
the outfits
can-
and go to
You can
conventions.
star in the next Ghostbusters movie, kind of thing, right?
And they're
Yeah.
like, now's the scene when the ghost fly. It felt like a Universal Studios ride, like
Everybody go, ah!
or a commercial for a Universal Studios ride.
Yeah.
You made me believe anything was possible.
But so the movie has kind of neat looking but generic bad guy.
Yeah.
Monster with horns.
I was fine with him for this movie.
He was an acceptable.
At least he wasn't Gozer.
Right. They
Or
came up
Vigo. I was waiting for something with Vigo, and they didn't do
in
it.
the post credit. What do we get out of this? I was saying we had a generic bad guy, like very similar to the cartoon show, just generic interdimensional bad guy whose superpower is he wants to freeze everything and have an army of ghosts. Bad guy. Boom. Phoebe, she fell in love and had a ghost friend, potential.
They danced around it, though.
Yeah, we all know.
I was waiting for the ghost kiss when she got sucked out of her own body.
Yeah, it would have been weird.
You don't want to upset
kids.
that fraction of the
I
audience,
know,
so you got to keep
I
it
know.
loose enough.
You got to have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
as
The last
they
thing you
say.
want is a YouTube thumbnail with woke question mark and the. So just avoid
I'm
it.
sure
they're
it's
just,
already
they're just
happening.
friends. They're just friends.
Should we just do that for this video? Ghostbusters, whoa.
People that don't click on the video are going to be very upset at us. Oh no, they become grifters.
It's a big red circle around her face. Whoa.
That just felt out of place to me because of the type of ghost. It's just like a normal, like she's talking like sarcastically, like a modern teen.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Aubrey Plaza or something.
I
But
thought she
that
should have
type
been-
of ghost felt weird in
Yeah.
this movie, in a Ghostbusters
Because they never
movie.
said what year she died.
Yeah.
And so she has like a modern haircut and modern stylings. It should have been like a ghost from like the 1800s or something, and, you know.
Yeah.
Like our computer training video we watched on Best of the Worst.
Yeah.
1950s.
Or 50s, yeah.
Yeah.
When it was still like, you know, you got to be closeted. But then they have to bring up that whole like topic and where she's just like, I kind of like you.
True.
You know, and then that becomes a whole thing. And
Yeah.
then, then you get the YouTube thumbnails with
Yep.
and the outrage and the and we have to deal with that. It's just like, I don't know. I think from the producers and the movie's perspective, they needed to have, your representation, but they did
also
it.
plausible deniability.
So plausible deniability.
They're just friends. That's all we meant.
Yeah, exactly. Plausible deniability. The scariest ghost of all. What do I say about Disney?
Passive progressive.
Passive progressive. Yes.
Yeah. This is a good case of that.
Where we have the first gay ghosts in a Ghostbusters movie.
Finally.
Finally.
That's what I've been hoping for since I saw
A ghost?
Dan Aykroyd get blown by a ghost in the original film. It's like, why can't that be a man?
We've had slut ghosts. Why can't we have lesbian ghosts? Can I tell a very quick story because I was laughing?
Okay.
When I took a screenwriting course at film school, it was like screenwriting 1, right?
Yeah.
So it was just like filled with just random people, and there was this lesbian woman. She was older, and we were all writing screenplays, and hers was called "Haunt Me," and this really happened. Okay, she was writing the script, and we were talking about genres, and this is where Jay. I always say this line to Jay because everyone was saying, "What's your genre?" Like, I'm writing a drama, I'm writing a comedy, and she goes, "I don't really care much for the comedy." And she was very like.
If I remember, wasn't it? I don't like the comedy.
Yeah, something
Wasn't
like
that
that. But
I don't like
and then
the
she's
comedy.
like, she goes, "My story is called Haunt Me, and it's about a woman who's being haunted by a female ghost that is in love with her, and they're in love with each other." So it was basically what happened in this movie: lesbian ghosts, lesbian ghost, and a living woman who are in love. It was called Haunt Me. Very, very provocative title. And then this one guy, he was kind of dumb. He just goes, "Oh, so they're not like slut lesbians?" And the whole room was silent, and I started laughing, and I couldn't stop laughing for like an hour. It was like two worlds, right? His only knowledge of a lesbian was like something from like a porno movie.
Late 90s porn.
He didn't even know that in the world like a lesbian could actually have an actual like romance and love. So his question was, and he said slut. He said, "So they're not like slut lesbians?" And she said, "No." And then everyone moved on, and I could not stop laughing. You know that kind of like giggly laughter that you just can't suppress in a quiet environment. Where you're just, I just kept doing that, and I couldn't stop. It was like, ironically, it was the most comedic thing that's ever happened to that lady who doesn't like the comedy. It was the funniest fucking thing because it was so like. It was like, yeah, oh my God. And so I was thinking about that while I was watching this movie.
And he's like, slut lesbians?
It was just like this big dumb guy. And he said it authentically.
Yeah.
He didn't say it to be funny.
Yeah.
It was an authentic question. I mean, no, it was fine. At least the ghosts had a little arc where the monster wanted her to use Phoebe to get inside of Phoebe's body so that Phoebe could touch the ball and open up.
He needed a human voice to speak the chant to open the ball.
Something. And so there was
They brushed through it all so quick.
When Phoebe brought her down to the ghost basement of the firehouse, and then she's like, "Ooh, what's this?" I thought she was just gonna like transform into some kind of like ugly, hideous monster ghost. There was like it was just a total.
I knew there was a betrayal coming of some sort.
Yeah, and I thought I expected it earlier, but I think it has lots of little pieces of other movies and things that kind of worked all in this big big collage of something that we watched for 2 hours, and I wasn't like angry or miserable, but I was a little bored in the middle, and then I was like, I chuckled a couple times. So it's not like a strong comedy like the first one. It's not an overall action adventure movie. It's not treading new ground. It's not, doing this. It's not focusing on strong characters. It's just like a little bit of everything is in there, and it just kind of sort of congeals.
Yeah, no,
the cake didn't rise. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, it's like cutting into a birthday cake, and it's still a little liquidy
Gooey,
inside.
yeah.
You're just, it kind of, yeah.
Well, that's the middle of the movie, so that's where you started to get bored, because once they get to and you see it in the trailers, when it's like the beach starts to, the icicles come up on the beach, that happens like in the last 20 minutes of the movie, and that should have been like minute 42.
No.
But there was so much other crap that they had to put into the middle, and it's like bogged down.
I was fine with the sort of scaled back action ending.
No, I'm fine with that. I'm just saying, like, in terms of pacing.
Yeah, I got it.
You needed like something related to the plot to happen in the middle of the movie, but the middle of the movie is just everybody goes on their little
It
side
sort
quests.
of did with the introduction of Ernie Hudson's like ghost laboratory thing. And that sort of like opened up the world a little. There's some world building going on there where it's not just the firehouse. Ernie Hudson's doing other stuff in the background with his money.
Which I was actually kind of intrigued by.
Yeah.
But then they don't do much. They show like the new containment unit, and they don't really do anything with that. It's just to establish that one device that sucks out.
Yeah, they do a fair amount there. But I just don't see why we couldn't cut Podcast and the other girl out.
Because they were in the last movie.
Did they sign a contract, or?
They're setting up a universe. That's how you
I
build.
suppose if you want to look at it cynically, yes.
You build a cinematic universe, even though that's kind of run its course. They're still trying.
The ending felt very Marvel as well, when she's shooting them with the laser, the copper brass.
The proton pack with
Yeah, what brass? What was it?
Brass.
Copper. That wasn't
No,
copper.
they didn't have copper,
It was
but
brass.
they had plenty of brass. They sawed off part of the fire pole, I think.
Yes, brass.
But then Kumail Nanjiani slides down it at the end. And
It's fine.
Intact?
It's fine.
What happened there?
They only sawed off part of it. It's fine.
That's right. Yeah.
Where'd they saw it off
It's
from?
fine. It's fine.
They have two fire poles, one on the front, one on the back.
Okay.
Yeah, and she smelts it
Yeah.
down with like a Bic lighter.
With like a Bunsen
Shades
burner.
of Star Trek Discovery, where it took them like 2 minutes to build a time travel suit.
Yes, and she has I said, is she narrating the movie? Because she's like, I'm gonna take all of the brass and melt it down, and our power packs, proton packs work by something.
They had to ADR something to explain what was happening.
Technobabble, yeah. And then she's like, just dip it in brass, and then it will work. Like that's the kind of stuff that annoys me. That Star Trek Discovery, like techno jargon that goes beyond techno jargon, techno babble, I should say.
It's more that probably would have taken her more than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's the only part of that even slightly bugs me. But
Right, but he's the fire master. Kumail Nanjiani is the fire master, and so at the end she's shooting him with the brass plated proton pack, and then he's like shooting fire, and it reminded me of like the Age of Ultron ending when they're all kind of just zapping at
using their magic powers together.
Yeah, they're zapping.
I don't remember the actors in those movies looking quite as bored as the ones in this one, though.
Yeah, so it felt a little like a Marvel. It's just like whatever. It's not.
It's okay.
It's nothing to get worked up about anymore.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because when Ghostbusters 2016 came out, it was like a big deal. It's like a new Ghostbusters movie, and the only credit I'll give that one is that they attempted a comedy.
Well, so that happens, and then immediately after, we got to course correct. We need another new Ghostbusters immediately. So now it's like, and now here's the follow-up to that. So it's so diluted now.
Soon we're going to get a dimensional rift where there's parallel universes, so you could bring back Melissa McCarthy and.
I was actually waiting for some sort of little nod to it in this movie.
Because now it's nostalgic.
Now enough time has passed where no one is upset or cares anymore.
Kids who grew up with the 2016 Ghostbusters are now like in college.
I was waiting for it in this movie. I was waiting for something, some little nod.
It's going to
It
happen.
didn't happen.
It'll happen. If this
Yeah.
one's successful, like financially enough to eke out enough money to make another one,
You saw the theater.
I mean, to be fair, we did see it on a Thursday in the middle of the day. Which is weird because they usually don't have screenings this early. Usually it might be like Thursday, 7 p.m. And I wonder if they're trying to get a jump start on some sort of box office momentum.
well, the opening weekend is an important number, so they can kind of stretch it.
Get a couple more screenings in on Thursday. But yeah,
So,
I don't know, like the not 2016, but the Afterlife movie did okay business, enough to warrant a sequel. But I don't know if people care that enough to go again.
Right.
Like, not with these characters, at least.
I don't know, because there's just a little echo in my brain of my love of Ghostbusters, but it's like almost completely snuffed out by Sony Pictures and their monstrous money-making empire of embarrassment.
When I saw the first trailer for this, and I heard, you see Walter Peck, you see the library ghosts, you see Slimer, I was like, they crammed in even more. They didn't get it all out of their system in the first movie. What else left is there to pilfer from that original movie? What haven't they gotten to yet? I noticed there was like an 80-yard line at the end when they're all out front of the firehouse in this one, and Walter Peck shows up. They 80 yards someone in the crowd call him Dickless. It's like, oh, they were editing and they're like, we didn't have anyone in the movie call him Dickless. We have to put that in there.
How does the crowd know that?
Someone in the crowd calls him Dickless because they watched the first movie, I guess.
Coincidence.
Just a coincidence?
Like poetry, Rich.
There was did you notice the patent ADR?
I did. They did a in-movie ADR where he must have said something too vulgar for a PG-13.
I think what he said it was, he was talking about that society in 1904, the Manhattan Adventure of Paranormal Society or whatever, and he said it was a colonial. I think he said it was a colonial fuck fest.
Yeah.
But they changed it to colonial lewd fest.
Yeah, I wonder if that was he just said it and they were like, well, it's a funny line, but we can't have him say fuck.
Because as we know, he ad-libs.
I mean, if you can't ad-lib in a Ghostbusters movie, something wrong, right?
I mean, look how well it worked out for the 2016 movie. It's nothing but ad-libs.
I guess it depends on how talented your cast is.
No, that movie has a talented cast. It apparently didn't have a talented editor, though.
The best
you can't leave it all in.
The best ad-libber was Chris Hemsworth. I laughed quite a bit at Kumail Nanjiani's performance. I thought he was the best thing in the whole movie.
He's the standout character.
But he's useless, though, because he's the fireman or whatever. So they have to fight a god of ice. And that's not going to happen too often.
He can still use a proton pack like the rest of the Ghostbusters. Just because he has fire powers doesn't mean he can't also use a power pack.
Do their proton packs shoot fire? Because he was making that move, too.
It's a form of energy. Maybe it's a misunderstanding by the ancients that they could only control fire, because back then they didn't have proton streams.
Okay, that's fair.
But it turns out apparently he can manipulate any kind of hot energy stream.
I'm fine with new Ghostbusters if they're fun and if they're funny and fun to watch. But like I said, everybody in this movie feels like they're sleepwalking through it.
Yeah.
Kumail Nanjiani would have been a great Ghostbuster. Patton would have been fun as a Ghostbuster.
Sure.
But yeah, that
one
boring
likes,
family unit.
No one likes kids and no one likes family.
Yeah. And nothing against the actress. She's good, the Phoebe girl.
Oh, yeah.
It's just the character is boring teen
It's a
emo.
it's a cartoony character.
Yeah.
It's like a, I don't know. No one likes the genius child.
She was fine in the first one when she was learning about her grandfather. It was fine.
Well, they try to work that into the plot of this one. How it's like, you know how to do everything, but you can't do everything because you're just a kid. And Walter Peck says that it's child labor. So that's their excuse to give her motivation to do anything in the movie. Mm-hmm. So they kind of work it into it that she's too smart for her own good, I guess. I don't care.
It's a double-edged sword. What do you do? Just the same thing over and over again? You just keep remaking the same Ghostbusters movie over, or do you
I know.
try new things? Oh, the new thing failed too. Oh, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Yeah, you just have to be smart about it, I guess, and find a good balance. I don't know. It's lightning in a bottle, like we've said a million times, the original movie.
No, I'd be fine with the movie being about a family trying to be Ghostbusters, living in the firehouse. I kind of liked that when they're down by the containment unit, there's like the washer and dryer right next to it. Like things like that are kind of like charming, but they don't do enough with that in the story because there's so much other shit going on.
That's the thing is scale. You can't watch a small movie anymore. I mean, independent movies and dramas aside. In terms of like the 80s movies, you know, your Ghostbusters, Gremlins, and whatever. Like, everything has to be so big and bombastic and loud and so many things going on and so many target audience characters and explosions and it's too many plot threads. And yeah, if it was just get rid of Bill Murray, get rid of Ernie Hudson. Ernie Hudson makes a phone call in one scene, that's it. Just, the four people in the family living in the Ghostbusters house. And it's a different dynamic. And
you're not constantly reminded of the original movie by having all the other characters show up.
Yeah.
I would have been fine, like, get Patton out of the movie, even though I like him just fine, but have that exposition dump be done by Dan Aykroyd. And that's like his scene in the movie.
Yeah, he's working in the basement of the library, or it is in his occult shop or whatever, occult bookstore. But yeah, and then you go back to like thinking about it like that, and where it's like, okay, the family's now struggling to run the Ghostbusters business, and then you kind of get back to the first one, where it's like then you get into retread territory. So I don't know, it's lightning in a bottle, it can't be recreated, but you can use all the likable, memorable moments and imagery and slap it in a giant cake.
There's enough nostalgia frosting on top.
That's why it would have worked better as like a limited series on one of the streaming services, where you can have like 6 episodes, and then everything doesn't have to be so rushed like it is in the movie.
Yeah.
But that's where it's gonna go.
That's where it should. It belongs there. It's the perfect, like, this family living in the firehouse. Like, that's like sitcom stuff. Have it be a TV series. That's fine.
It's Sony's behind the times. They're still trying to make these big budget, fucking, what do we call it, expanded universe or whatever, Marvel-esque type movies.
Madam Web.
And, Madam Web, and they're still trying, but really they need to. This movie needs to be a series of 700 TikTok videos. Oh, good. We have podcast on there. Ghost in the toilet. What? Next, Paul Rudd says a funny line. Next,
I saw something.
I don't like that part where Paul Rudd said that line. I'm going to swipe and watch this part where Finn Wolfhard tries to catch Slimer with Cheetos. Because that's all it is a series of things.
Yeah. That's all anything is.
I mean, that's technically true.
It's just a series of images projected in order to create an illusion of motion. I wanted to say there were CGI Ghostbusters cars in this. It made me mad.
I mean, there might be. I'm assuming there was CGI extensions to the set because they filmed the exterior of the firehouse.
There was one
on
shot,
the set.
like I think they did like beauty shots of it just driving down the street in New York for real.
I'm sure they got like one day of shooting in New York.
It was the shot when Finn Wolfhard was, or no, I'm sorry, when they told Phoebe she couldn't come with on the new ghost busting adventure.
Oh,
and then the car pulled out and turned.
Oh yeah, you see across the street.
And they wanted it to go like probably quickly, and the car probably in real life wouldn't be able to turn that fast, and so it looked like super fake. I was like, nah.
Can I nitpick?
Yeah.
Once they shoot that ghost, they're driving along the street, they shoot the ghost. Can't they just stop the car? Isn't the whole point of the proton pack that once you shoot the ghost, it's caught in the beam?
Yeah.
Can't you just stop the car and wrangle it in then?
maybe that particular ghost was too strong. And
Then
would pull
why
them.
are they bothering with the proton beam? They have a helicopter trap that can just fly and chase it. The proton beam isn't doing anything other than destroying buildings and other cars.
You
Just
talking
chase
about
it.
the opening action scene with
Yes.
the yeah.
Just chase it with your trap drone and fly over it, and you don't need the proton beam then.
That's true,
If you
yeah.
can't hold it with the proton beam,
Yeah.
don't use the proton beam.
So you're saying that they should expand on their trap technology?
That would be the smart thing. Yes.
Yeah, have like just a giant trap that's like 8 feet wide and
The
just,
entire top of the car.
yeah,
It opens up and
yeah, and just drive under it, and yeah.
I was thinking, why did they even bother? Now that we know that they have that drone trap, why did they bother with the little like remote control car one first? Why not just go immediately to the drone one? The thing's flying.
Yeah.
I think they established that thing in the last movie, so they're like, oh, we'll reuse this, but then they'll realize it doesn't work, so we'll introduce the new gadgets that we can sell toys of. I mean, that'll make for an exciting scene.
It made for an exciting scene because they kept trying all their tools.
Yeah.
And after everyone failed, the tension would just build, and I just wanted them to get that giant eel flying through the streets of New York City because I had no idea what it would do other than fly around. So I was so invested in that sequence. It was classically set up, threat and tension, consequence, stakes, all of it was there. A glowing blue eel flying through the sky. I knew they had to get it. And they got it. But at what cost, Mike? Wait. Oh, I thought it was you
Oh,
talking to me.
oh.
To our first customer. To our first and only customer.
I mean, I don't want to go back to comparing how good the first one is to this, but remember they're eating the Chinese food and it's the last of the petty cash and they're about to go bankrupt? Ray's mortgaged his parents' house 7 times. Everyone was it 9 mortgages? Or whatever?
3. It's 3.
It's a 3?
It's only 3. Yeah.
You didn't even haggle with them.
But at 19%, you didn't even bargain with the guy.
Ray, for your information, the interest rate alone for the first 5 years comes to $95,000.
It's hilarious. I didn't understand those lines as a kid, but now I do. It's funny.
Yeah.
But when the calls would come in, you'd be like, oh my gosh, they got a call. And then, Bill Murray's haggling with the hotel owner to get money. This is the perfect analogy because when they got a call in this movie, I just went, oh. Like if I were them, I'd be like, why? Why do I want to do this? What's my motivation? The 3 originals, Egon was a weirdo who liked technology, Ray was a spiritualist, Bill Murray was a con man who was grifting and trying to make money. Mm-hmm. They all had their motivations.
And then Ernie Hudson wanted a paycheck.
And Ernie Hudson was there for a paycheck. So and they're starting a business, a fledgling business. And this is like Paul Rudd and Carrie Coon and the kids, they're putting their kids' lives in danger.
Yes.
And they're living in a dirty firehouse and there's no motivation to want to be Ghostbusters other than perhaps for her to continue on the legacy of Egon Spengler, but she didn't really.
That was more the daughter's thing than the mother's thing.
Yeah, they don't even mention that in any.
So it's not like, I don't know, grandma has cancer, we can't afford her chemo, or I don't know, there's no motivation. Just be plain and simple. The bell went off and they had to go out and catch a ghost and they were happy about it. Why? It doesn't look like fun. It looks like a chore.
The daughter almost dies because of the gunner's scene.
Yeah.
It almost gets hit by another car.
And there's nothing funny about the ghost catching scene, like that scene in the hotel when they destroy the banquet hall. I mean, it's funny.
Yeah.
It's
They're
funny.
causing so much destruction to this posh hotel.
Yes.
It's funny.
Yes.
I did that. That's my fault. It's okay. The table broke the fall.
And they don't care. And they shoot their proton packs at the maid, thinking she's a ghost. And she says, "What the hell are you doing?" Sorry.
I'm sorry.
And the line is, "We thought you were someone else." Not we thought you were a ghost, but we thought you were someone else. Which doesn't make any sense, but that's why it's funny. There's nothing funny in this movie.
You know the most underappreciated bit in Ghostbusters?
What's that,
It's
Rich?
just when they fire up the proton pack the first time, and
Oh, yeah.
Egon
Oh,
and
yeah.
Peter, they just
Yeah.
slowly move away.
Yeah.
As if those couple inches will save them
Yeah,
if
right.
the thing blows up.
Right.
Yeah.
But that bit is set up by the line, each of us has an unlicensed nuclear accelerator on our backs, and then they turn it on and, yeah. As if moving 4 feet away in an elevator is going to do anything, but yes. And so,
That's the joke.
that's the joke, and it's genius.
Going up.
I'll take the next one.
That movie is not about the monster of the week. It's not about the threat of Gozer. It's about those little moments.
Yeah.
And Frozen Empire is about the big, scary demon ghost that's stacking the city.
And it pretends to be about the little moments.
Yeah.
The family relationship, the girl's love interest, even Finn Wolfhard's love it. Is he in love with the girl?
They were like a lot. That was his love interest in the last movie.
I didn't even know they knew each other.
They're barely. Yeah, they have. She just happens to be interning as a Ghostbuster, and also podcast just happens to be in New York during the summer. It's like
Their presence is obligatory.
yeah, they were in the last one. They have to be in this one, even
Yeah.
though we have nothing for them to do.
Yeah, so it's a mess. They should just, I don't know, I'd say start over, but
We've done that twice in the last 5 years.
it's
We're done.
so weird.
They can't just let it die.
Yeah.
Let franchise. It's time to start putting these franchises down.
I know.
It really is.
When you see Dan Aykroyd in this, and he's like, I mean, he's doing okay. He's fine in it, but he's so old, and nothing against old people. But when you see him like still delivering that dialogue, the ghost exposition dialogue, and he just seems like tired. It's like, okay, we need to stop this.
It's less about his age for me. It's more just, do we really just need to keep doing this?
Yeah. I'm waiting for one of these legacy sequels. They'll be shooting it, and whatever actor they dig up for it just like dies on set. I'm waiting for that to happen. It will happen.
It happened to Carrie Fisher.
She didn't
Not
die
on set, but in between 2 films.
Yeah,
It's
that's true. That's the closest we've gotten.
literally happened
I'm waiting for
already.
one to actually die on the set.
Just like die of old age.
yeah,
Like,
just drop dead while they're dragging them out to do the same shtick they did 40 years ago.
yeah.
Do you remember Dark City?
Yeah.
That was one movie. It was a great science fiction noir movie, and they made one, and we could look back and say that was a great movie. And we
Yeah.
don't have to have endless conversations about the 7 failed Dark City sequels.
They brought back Kiefer Sutherland for one scene in Dark City
8
Afterlife.
Dark Vengeance.
Dark Vengeance.
The problem is it wasn't a huge hit.
Right.
Thankfully, they haven't touched Gremlins or Back to the Future. Those
Well,
are
they did the HBO Max series for Gremlins, but that was
the
like a
cartoon.
kiddie animated thing.
Yeah. That's but a live action sequel.
As long as Robert Zemeckis is alive, they'll never touch Back to the Future,
I know,
which is great.
And Bob Gale. I think they have like a blood oath or blood pact or a contract they call it.
They have a contract, yeah.
Where it says, no one can touch this unless we say it. Signed in blood. Notarized by the devil.
They're waiting for him to die, aren't they? They're just drooling.
Maybe it says like in perpetuity for the universe or whatever, perpetuality for the universe. You know, those are contracts that never end.
Can they do that? Would that hold up?
I don't know, but
And I respect them for not. I'm sure they've had offers. Probably offered them so much money.
Oh yeah, that's a
to
cash
bring
cow.
Back to the Future, and they've resisted. God bless them.
Back to the Future would make a great series.
Would it make a great series, Mike? Or would it just be tired and old by
No,
now?
because you can't. Michael J. Fox, you can't use him, and Christopher Lloyd is also. He still acts, but he's very, very old.
Yeah.
But
Then what do you have besides the name and the DeLorean?
Well, you could do like a Quantum Leap-esque weekly series. I've had ideas about this.
Anybody can make a time travel movie, and they don't have to have the Back to the Future license, and then it doesn't have any of the baggage and expectations that come with Back to the Future. And I remember this. It's just you can do your own thing freely.
Well, sure, but the baggage and expectations. The baggage means recognizable IP and the DeLorean. So that's important, and that's where the money is. You can't just make Time Travel Man.
But that's when you end up with a mediocre movie, though, because everyone's just going to compare it to the original.
Well, sure. Maybe not movie, maybe series.
Yeah.
Weekly series of different
The expectations
adventures.
are lower. That's why no one's
expectations
upset about the Gremlins cartoon.
Well, sure, yeah. But yeah, Indiana. What we have Indiana Jones, like things that they've like just milked and ripped apart. Halloween. Now
Halloween.
They're rebooting the reboot.
Oh yeah, have you heard this, Rich? They're doing a new Halloween. It's going to be a TV series, and they've literally run out of words to explain like reboots, a legacy sequel, soft reboot. They're calling the new Halloween a creative reset. They called it a Halloween creative reset.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the being.
If you want to see Ghostbusters shoot the proton packs at a scary ghost, it's a good movie.
It's a watchable movie.
It's a watchable movie.
If you want to see it, you can watch it.
It'll service your needs if that's what you're here for.
Yeah.
If you just want to see people run around and shoot a ghost, okay. Okay. You know, it's fine.
Let's move on and not talk about Ghostbusters
What's
anymore.
next? What's the next?
What are next?
What's the next creative reset?
Creative reset. It'll be Ghostbusters. They'll do a new one if this one flops.
Can they? You know that movie, The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind? Can they? I don't even have to finish.
You don't even have to finish your sentence.
A movie about a business that erases your memories so you can enjoy old movies again.
No, so you don't know that they made movies beyond Ghostbusters too. That's what I'm talking about.
So they don't know movies made beyond Ghostbusters?
Oh, sure, that too.
I'm
That's
fine
fine.
without Ghostbusters
Okay,
too.
yeah. Like you just see. That's why I'll never watch Blues Brothers 2000.
Oof.
I've just unless you Clockwork Orange me, I'm never going to watch it. I will go to my grave having never watched that, and because I love that first movie so much, and I've heard that the second one, the 2000, is just fucking awful. So. And I wish I just never watched Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and it's just like it's the nostalgia.
They can't help themselves.
Here's the thing: if they erased your memory of it, you'd probably say, "Oh, look at all of these Indiana Jones movies I've never seen."
Then you just get to go through the disappointment all over again.
Oh no! It's like a secret horror movie. And then you get so heartbroken because you've watched these new. You have to go get your memory erased. But then you forgot you watched the movies. Oh, look at all these new Indiana Jones movies. Oh no!
It's like hell.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Purgatory.
What you're describing is hell. Yeah. But constantly doing that over again starts rotting certain parts of your brain.
Until eventually you start enjoying it.
Your intelligence rots away. And you're just like the monkey with the cymbals. Joy and things I know.
Dial of Destiny is a great movie.
X-Wings. Do it, Rich. Do it for the fans.
80s.
Proton pack. Proton pack. Slimer.
Slimer shows up.
Slimer.
They're driving Ecto 1.
I'm glad Walmart wasn't in this movie. That's all, folks. Thanks for watching.